as like a card. And then I'm just like reminded that like there's literally basics that draw your hand to 7 and item lock your opponent, and it's like, dude, there's literally no way. Like this card has to be like terrible now.
Clifty.
Yeah, because the only thing it does is it like stops like the aggressive decks.
Yeah, it just stops Raging Bolt. That's all it does.
Well, Joltik Box because I'm right on.
True.
All right, guys, coming back here with another vlog. Today, I'm going to be participating in the Game Cafe Black White On League Cup. It's the first League Cup of our season here in Kansas. It is going to be best of 3. Looking forward to playing with the new cards. Today, I'm going to be playing Joltik Box. I took a lot of inspiration from Azul GG's recent YouTube video that he put out. I made a few changes, including a very, very spicy tech card in the Volcanion for the mirror. Like I said in the second to last vlog when I was playing Zora EX, I felt like playing that deck, especially in our local metagame, was inviting a lot of Joltik Box players going forward. I want to see if I can punish those players. I didn't feel like playing Raging Bolt today just because it was a new set, and I wanted to make sure that what I was playing today contained some new cards. So I do have the Electric from the deck, new reprint of an old card that we aren't actually allowed to use the old card, curious enough. But besides that, I think the round's gonna start soon, so I gotta head back inside and then we'll see how our round 1 goes. This is the deck list I'll be running today. The main differences are no XP share and adding a Power Glass, cutting a Crispin for Super Rod, and playing the Volcanion as the tech for the mirror to one-shot Pikachu through Resolute Heart. Just got done with round 1, played against Casey. They're local to the store that I've known for a while. They actually are usually the professor, but they actually have a few more professors than many other stores end up having. So I think they have like 3 professors on their like crew. So he's playing today. He was on Ethan's Typhlosion with Dracloaks, but no like Fez or anything. I think he was just playing like 3 Dreepy Dracloaks, 4 Typhlosion lines, and then 1 Badoo, which meant I had to take basically every single prize one at a time unless I could amp multiple turns in a row, which in game 1 I got 2 amps off, but then I missed the following 2 knockouts after he knocked out my hands, which let him get the game. Game 2, I just overwhelmed him, which let me establish hands, Galvantula behind it, as well as a few other attackers just to make sure that I could close out. And then in game 3, there were a few, I don't know, game mistakes where he attacked with a Typhlosion. I put the damage on, but he missed, said he didn't have enough Ethans in the discard to take the knockout. And then the following turn, I just amp something to go to 2, and then he starts doing actions, attaches an energy to a Quilava, and then I look at his Typhlosion that he promotes, and there's only 4 cards. It's Typhlosion, Quilava, Cyndaquil, Brave Bengal, no fire energy. So his previous attack couldn't have happened, and then the attack that he was going to announce that turn couldn't have happened, so he just scooped up to me. So barely made it in time. Currently 1-0. Sounds like there's a lot of Joltik Box, so my tech might be really, really good. It just depends on how the rest of the rounds pair up. We'll see how things turn out. Okay, just got done with round 2. Played against Andy Porter. Not somebody I'm familiar with, but I think they're local to the store, similar to my first opponent. They were playing Iono's Belly Bolt, which is a archetype that I haven't really looked into. Seems like a deck that's not getting a lot of love, so it was actually super cool to play against them. I think that the deck might need a little bit more refining. They were playing Electric Generators. I think it's kind of just a full rip deck where you just gotta be researching every turn just to try and find all the pieces so that you can use the Iono's Belly Bolt ability to jet a bunch of energies into play so that you can start swinging really hard with the Baby Voltorb. But this matchup is probably just not that good for them because during game 1, I just set up a hands, immediately started amping, started setting up a Pikachu behind it, so that if there was ever a turn where they just pushed the Belly Bolts, which has 280 HP, I would just immediately attack it with Topaz Bolt to take 2 prizes on it. So there was no stalling to see if anything came up from their deck. And then in game 2, I opened a pretty bad hand. I had to start hands, or I had to start a Pokemon that wasn't going to be relevant in the matchup. My top deck was Joltik, so I benched Joltik, attached out of my hand, and then played Switch from my hand, announcing Jolting Charge to attach 4 energy to Iron Hand, setting it up for Amps on the next turn. He then Iono'd me, which let me draw a significantly better hand than what I had. So then I had like Arven, Crispin. He hadn't established the Iono's Tadbulb, which is the pre-evolve form of the Bellybolt, which let me just, if he ever put it down, which he did put down only 1, I just bossed it, amped it, and then the next turn he went through the motions, tried to establish another Pokemon, and then put down 1 Tadbulb again, and I just primed it, amped it, and that was pretty much it, because there wasn't a whole lot that he could do. His Kilowattrels were 120, but they were also weak to lightning anyway, so even if I had somehow like less damage, I was still taking a 2 prize. So got that done. I'm gonna go get a drink since the round finished so fast. It was roughly about 20 minutes, and we'll check back in once round 3 is over. Okay, just got done with round 3. 3-0. Played against Andrew. He was playing Straight Bolt today. We had a pretty good game 1. I set up really well, so I kind of just started taking prizes, amping. I never got to use Pikachu during game 1, but thankfully Miraidon actually came up as a really good attacker into his liabilities, because he put down Latias and Fez just to make sure that he could draw the card and draw cards and play the game and retreat into Badoo. But I amped a Dracloak, I amped a Badoo, and then I Photon Blastered a Latias for game. In game 2, I opened a pretty clunky hand. I think it was like Iron Hands, Energy, Super Rod, Bravery Charm, Pikachu, Pheasantipity, EX. It was like every single Pokemon, and no Search, and no Joltik. So I couldn't just immediately start Jolting Charge, and it kind of slowed my game down. So I went start Iron Hands, attached to it, pass, and then I was hoping that I would top deck a Crispin because he was gonna Badoo me next turn. Didn't top deck Crispin, but I did top deck an Energy. So maybe 1 more Energy and I get in the game. And my top deck for the next turn under another item lock was Arven, which just meant that I didn't get another Energy, and I scooped up pretty much immediately thereafter. Going into game 3, we had roughly 15-20 minutes left, and I kind of just knew what I was going for, which was going to be overwhelming him as fast as we can. He let me have second all 3 games. He chose first going into game 1 after winning the coin flip, and then chose first in game 2 after I Jolting Charge on the first turn. So ultimately, maybe just like a player mistake, but ultimately happy with the fact that I could get away from that rough matchup during game 1, having Phantom Dive announced against me, and then not being able to use like Nest Ball for Fez or anything like that was kind of stressing me out, because I was really unsure how he could manipulate the damage into getting multiple prizes and KO my 2 attackers. But he decided to KO Mew instead of putting damage on Iron Hands, and then setting up Miraidon to be counter captured or boss KO'd on the following turn. So again, 3-0. Probably gonna ID into cut. It's a 5-round tournament. I'll see what my opponent's playing, and maybe decide if I really want to ID or not. I also probably look at the records and see if I ID this round, if the opponent that I play next round is somebody I may want to scoop to. Alrighty, just ID'd round 4 to Deweese Martinez. He and I are the only 2 3-0s. Another player, Ian McGregor, the same guy that I had lost to at the end of the Game Nut Challenge a couple weeks ago, is another undefeated player, but is actually only 2-0-1. He took a long game 2 to a conclusion against a Charizard Pidgeot player. So looks like I'm gonna be able to ID twice into the cut. So this is the first one, and then the next round will be another ID. I know Deweese is playing Dragapult, which my current track record is that it's okay. The main hope is that I'm able to go second in that matchup and then immediately Jolting Charge on the first turn of the game. But I think with some fluctuation, my opponent from round 3 was not playing many of the cards that can slow me down, or wasn't actively playing them. I believe he has Ionas in his deck, obviously, but I just don't think he was playing to limit my hand size and try to make more potent plays than what he was doing. I definitely think that Dragapult is a super strong deck right now. It's also well represented in our metagame, so my list not having lilies is kind of biting me, but I was expecting some of the other Joltik Box players who were at this cup to do a little bit better. But the Volcanion hasn't come up yet. Maybe it'll come up going into top 8 with how many Dragapults there are, but not knowing who exactly is on that trajectory just yet makes me a little nervous about what can happen. All right, round 5 got paired, and I was made to play against Will Johnson. He's playing Dusknoir Dragapult. He and I were talking for a bit, and I found out that he had actually played one of my good friends the round before, Alex Tran. I went ahead and decided that scooping to him was probably the best play, because I was already guaranteed at 301, and whether I won, lost, or we ID'd, my score doesn't change. 10 points is enough to guarantee the cup finish at this tournament. So I went ahead and gave him the win, which boosted his resistance, which in turn boosted Alex's resistance. Hopefully, Alex can close out his last round. He's 2-2 right now. He's playing Charizard Pidgeot, helping test a list for a Worlds competitor. He's playing against straight Dragapult, the same guy that I played in round 3 to secure my top 8 placement. I believe that if he wins, his resistance, especially with Will Johnson being the 4-1 with his current record, should be high enough for him to make it into the cut as a 3-2, whether that be the 8th seed or the 7th seed. I'll take a picture of the final standings pre-cut before going out to get something to eat, and we'll have to double back with him. Okay, we just got into the top cut. Top 8 hit Luis Martinez, the guy I ID'd with in round 4. He is playing Dragapult Dusknoir, which I did know coming out of all the list submissions. Our locals have like a tendency to post it in our Discord server so that we can all see who is in cut, and then they also usually list what is in cut in accordance to what placement. I was the 5th seed after I conceded to Will Johnson. He's currently playing a Dragapult Dusknoir versus Straight Pult. I think it was going good for him. But against Deweese, he won the coin flip, got to choose second, which is already bad. So game 1 was kind of chalk to begin with. And then he took 4 prizes against me, used Dusclops to pop my baby eel that I had to start. So that was a pretty quick game 1. Going into game 2, get to choose second, immediately get to do my Jolting Charge. So we're right on pace. Immediately start amping. Gets a boss under Badoo so that I don't have to deal with item lock. Thankfully, restart into an Arven so that I can prime catcher the next turn and finish up that game pretty quick. Game 3. He chooses second, like he's supposed to do. He's already doing that intentionally with his deck, and then against my deck, he's extra incentivized, which is pretty terrible. So he starts Latias, and he goes second, so I go like bench my basics pass, and I know Badoo's coming, so I play out all my items. And then he goes Buddy Buddy Poffin from hand, get 2 Dreepy, bench Duskull, and then Nest Ball for Badoo, which definitely set him up to play a really tight game. But I went to Jolting Charge, put down a Bravery Charm on my Tynamo, which in hindsight, maybe he could have bossed up and made me sit for a turn It's really hard to say, but I kept establishing, and I immediately took 2 on a Dracloak with a Luminous attached. But then he promoted his other Dracloak, put a Neo Upper Energy on it, and attacked, beginning to set up my board. He actually had counter-catchered my Miraidon to the active, which I had Air Balloon. I think I had Air Balloon in deck, but I think I had played Arven for Bravery Charm the turn before, just to make sure that my baby eel couldn't get killed. I made a few mistakes at this point where I had to like manage to get Mew, but then also not play my supporter for turn. But my hand had Volcanion EX in it, and I couldn't bench it without benching myself out of Pikachu, so it was pretty terrible. I went Ultra Ball for Mew, discarding an Arven and a Boss's Orders, I believe. Then I go ahead with Miraidon's Tandem Unit to search out Pikachu EX. Something I didn't realize as I was setting up the final play, I restarted into Arven, and then I could have gotten I got Prime Balloon, and I put Balloon onto Pikachu. I could have Dynamotored onto my Miraidon, and if I find Boss, my Miraidon had 1 Grass Energy on it, which means if I prime it back to the bench and then Tandem Unit to it, it did have 200 damage on it, or not Tandem. So I put Grass on Miraidon. It had 200 damage on it because it had soaked the first Phantom Dive. So maybe I made the correct decision by attaching a Lightning Energy onto my Pikachu instead. But I think I could have also just primed it back to the bench, put the Dynamotor on it, announce Amp You Very Much on the Duskull that he hadn't evolved, take 2, go to 2 prizes, and then if he doesn't counter-catch or KO Mew, he KOs Hands and Miraidon, which then lets me have Mew with a huge empty board. And he also killed my Joltik. He took 5 prizes in 1 turn. So my board is Mew, Eel, Pikachu with a Lightning Energy on it, and the Air Balloon. And I have 1 out to win the game. I draw for turn. I have to sequence my deck so that I can go Venge Volcanion, retreat out of Mew into Volcanion, announce Scalding Steam to put a burn on the active Dragapult, and then have the switch, the 1 switch that's in my deck, to pull off the win. So I start with Mew in my active, and I have Nest Ball in hand, and I can play my hand down to 0. But to play my hand down to 0, I have to crisp it, which means I'm completely locked in. Play Crispin, get the Metal Grass, fantastic. Check for the switch, switch is there. Draw 3 off Mew. Not switch, but it is Earthen Vessel, gets me 2 cards out of the deck. Sound of Fez. First card off Fez, another energy, don't need it. Second card off Fez, switch, and I go retreat into Volcanion, announce the ability, and attack with Topaz Bolt for 300, 320 with the burn. I'm like shocked that the table did not get flipped, if I'm so honest. But Dweez is a super chill guy, and at the end of the day, he was super impressed actually by the fact that it worked out in my favor. I told him I thought it was so unfair because he definitely had played the game to perfection. Like maybe he could have hand ripped me at some point, but with Badoo item locking me and keeping me away from like playing Pokegears or anything like that at that point, I don't know. So yeah, 1 top 8. Now going to top 4. I think that the guy that I traveled with, Jacob Cathy, is doing well. He's also on Duskbolt. I'm actually really scared of this deck. Like I'm shocked how bad it felt playing against it. Like obviously I'm trying to take a prize as fast as possible, but if I don't kill the Duskulls before they start Curse Blast, it gets really, really bad. Okay, just played against Will Johnson, who was my round 5 opponent that I conceded to try and boost one of my friend's resistances. He was also on Dusknoir Dragapult. which I was saying is pretty terrifying. I don't know. I really don't like playing against this deck. And the other match is Dusknoir, Dragapult, and Gardevoir. Against Will, I secured the dub 2-0. I won round 1. And Will and I usually talk together. We rode to Milwaukee Regionals this last season together. He was talking to me about his list, and he said that he didn't feel like it was very easy to find all his guys, which I don't know. I couldn't really tell because he'd never established like second Duskull, but I feel like he might have felt that establishing a low HP basic in front of any of my Iron Hands was just a really bad idea. And I'm like, I don't know. Somebody told me I'm a much more competent Joltik Box player than many would believe because I go after Duskulls instead of Dreepies. And it's like, I could go after the Dreepies because it's like correct in the moment, but like if Dusknoir gets to blow up, it could get really, really bad really fast. So now, going to my Cup Finals. This is my second time ever actually making a Cup Finals. My previous time was last year in September. So, been almost 10 months. No, 11. Wow. 11 months since my last Cup Finals appearance, and my opponents are either the guy that I rode with or the guy that beat me in the second Garchomp vlog. I'm really excited. I don't know. I haven't gotten this close, especially with like a tournament of this caliber. Like everybody here, I feel like is really, really good. Just one more.
Head of Tails. Head is Tails. I'm gonna be going second. Alright.
Go, Freddy.
Good luck.
So, welcome to the post-tournament recap. Guest cameo Jacob Cathy, because Griffin over here has to drive. He won today, so big dubski for him. You know, beat Ian McGregor in the finals on Guardy with Joltik Box. Shout out to him. I got 4th, so 1st and 4th in the car. Double Cup next weekend coming up, so
Yeah, we just had the mission back to back.
Mission back to back, gonna be crazy. Hopefully the squad pulls up again because it was fun today. We'll see y'all next weekend.
Alright guys, coming at you from the next morning actually. I was so tired I crashed last night. I won my first League Cup in 11 months. I've attended multiple League Cups since my last finish, but this is my first win since September of last year. I played Ian McGregor in the finals. Game 1, I had won the coin flip and chose second, and I opened Iron Hands, 2 Energy, Earthen Vessel, Arven, Super Rod, and no... Or I didn't even open Arven. I just opened no search. So I went attach, pass, and I needed to top deck Crispin or Prime Catcher or Boss. But by the time that could have happened, he had evoed into double Guardy. So I just scooped up the game. Game 2. I'm going second again. I get to Jolting Charge immediately. And I start slowly building my board. At the end of the game, he could have Monkey Doried 6 damage onto my Electric because it already had 30 damage on it. And then if he would have taken that knockout, I would have had to find a combination of Crispin with 2 energies in my deck and Prime Catcher, but because he didn't take that knockout, as long as I found an energy and Arven or Boss off of a Mew draw with Ursaluna Blood Moon, or even with Crispin Dynamotor to Pheasantipity to try and just take one prize. And in game 3 was pretty wild. I opened Miraidon and I Tandem Unit for Joltik and Earthen Vessel for Lightning Grass and pass. Then he goes starts Drifloon, attach Energy, TM Evolution, bench 1 Ralts, bench Mew, announced restart for 1, and then Evo. So he only has 1 Ralts, that's now a Kirlia in play, and Mew. In my hand, I have like Ultra Ball, Arven, Lightning Energy, and like a few other cards. And ultimately that turn ends with me evolving my Joltik to Galvantula, attaching Grass, and then priming the Kirlia to one-shot it to go ahead, and then also take the Kirlia off his board. Then the next turn, he Super Rods to put back the Kirlia and the Ralts, and then restarts for 1, plays Buddy Buddy Puffin, puts down both Ralts again, and he's staring at his board, and he retreats out of Drifloon, and I'm like, is he gonna give me a Ralts? Because then if he doesn't draw like Research and then Rare Candy Ralts into Gardevoir, I can KO both Ralts again. He promotes Mew, and I had Jacob, who was in the last clip, sitting next to me, and I look over at him, and I'm like shocked. And then Ian realizes it after he's like getting ready to pass, because the Galvantula with a lightning on it, as long as it can attack, does 180 because of its own ability, which makes it do 50 more damage. So I went ahead 3, and that's when he finally started to establish a board. I went to 2. I don't think I had boss on anything, but I went to 2 anyway. And then at that point, he felt like he had to bench his entire hand and then Night Stretcher for Mew to draw 2 cards, and then Fez. So his entire bench was full with no Monkey Dories. He had like Drifloon in play, double Ralts, which are now like double Kirlia, Screamtail, Mew, and Fez. And then he restarted into Research, and he played Research, and I showed him boss, and then he was like, it's not over, and charmed the Mew, and I was like, oh no. So then I just retreated out and I started setting up more pieces. I put Eel down, and then I shoved my second Joltik and Jolting Charged and attached to Iron Hands and Pikachu, which basically just put the game on like on lock, because if he could never put down Adori because his bench was full, because I was never going to take a knockout unless I was taking 2 prizes, he couldn't KO Pikachu. So then if I just draw Crispin Vitality Band, I can one-shot a Gardevoir. Really good tournament run. I think I played like all really good players. Like I was talking with Jacob on the drive home after our clip, and everyone at that tournament had to have been like top 20 in KC. Like they're definitely just like all really good players, all like substantial. Ian is definitely the best player at that tournament, between a top 32 finish at a regional in 2023 and then top 64 at NAIC last year. I'm really I'm still a bit starstruck with the result, and I don't think that my list was perfect. I think what I chose to cut and try to include was wrong, and I think I was getting like a little too like cute about some of my cards, but it worked out. I think it all worked out.
All right. Well, this isn't the mat you're looking for.
Alright, just got to sit down. Again, crashed last night, so now I got my packs here for entry, or for signing up for their league. 1 prize pack series 6 for participation for Distant Rivals, and for winning, they gave us our choice of Paldea Evolved, Distant Rivals, Twilight Masquerade, or Journey Together. I chose out of their Paldea Evolved packs. I have a lot of good pulls out of this already, but doubling down on some of them would be really nice.